Hello everybody, I'm Richard Gono of Back2 with podcast version, and so I haven't created an episode for some not for some months but for some weeks. So this is the first episode in these weeks. And anyway, so it's the beginning of March in 2024, not 2023 but 2024. I mean, so 2 years have passed since the beginning of the last Ukrainian war, and anyway, so I was busy for these weeks. That is because I was investing some of my money into companies of artificial intelligences, or some companies create artificial intelligences, or some company creates some solutions of their clients using their artificial intelligences, or their systems using artificial intelligences. And some companies create medicines using artificial intelligences, and which is why, and through it, so recently I have wondered that, in the future, the general public, the general public it's going to have the perspective, which is the same as that of the general public of medieval era. So I mean, I'm not an expert, or I'm not a professional of the medieval period. So not the medieval era, but the medieval period. I mean, so in the past, or in the time of the medieval period, or in the Middle Ages, and the contemporary people had a belief that, they need, if they believe, if they had believed, or their contemporary ideas are, for example, so if they believe God was the God or gods, so they can go to heaven, or something like that. And so please imagine that. So if you know some video games of, for example, if you know video games named Final Fantasy, created in my country. By the way, so I'm Japanese, and Japanese language as my own mother tongue. And so and what I'm saying is that, in the future, in the far future, or maybe not in the distant future, or in the far future, I think that the contemporary people in the future are going to have perspectives, perspectives, or the ideas that, they believe. If they believe artificial intelligences, it's fine. So what I have imagined recently is that, so people begin to buy some some products of using artificial intelligences, and they believe. So let me use the verb believe. If they believe, or if they believe in such artificial intelligences, if you'd like to imagine the verb believe in, anyway. So if the contemporary people in the future believes it, what the products of artificial intelligence dictate, if the contemporary people believe what they say. So so they would believe, so the users would believe that the products as gods, meaning, so so in the contemporary people in the Middle Ages, or in the medieval periods, and they had believed God as the omnipotent existence, or the omnipotent thing, or the omnipotent God, or the supreme existence. And which is why, they had believed that, for example, their own community tied through their own religions. And in the future, they would believe the artificial intelligence is just like the gods in the medieval period. And which means, so what I'm imagining is that, so the contemporary perspective in the future is going to become really close to, or it's going to become the same as, or almost the same as, that of the contemporary people in the medieval period, in the medieval period or in the medieval period. So which such a thing is what I have imagined, and so if I create title, so I was thinking of how to title, how to decide the title, and so the title is so so in the future and in the future. So what I have imagined is that so in the future it may become close, may become really closer to the period of swords and magics. So Final Fantasy, which is the name of a series of the video games, uses medieval periods as their settings, meaning so the protagonists in that series of video games use swords and magics, and sometimes they use guns. Sometimes they use some characters or some protagonists use guns, but actually they mainly use swords and magics, and they fight against monsters, and yes, and that's it. And so that world may come to such a medieval period, such a imaginary medieval period may come true. And of course we never use in the future people never use magics or swords, but actually so the world may become the world in the future may become closer to that of magic or the swords. And if such mysterious stuff never be created, and but actually at least our perspectives in the future may become closer to those of the people who had lived in the medieval times or medieval periods, which is what I'd like you to realize. And anyway, so this is all the stuff I'd like you to know this time. So so maybe I couldn't come up with the title, and I'm going to write the title afterwards. And so how should I say? Is there anything else to say? Anyway, there's nothing. So please understand what I have imagined through this entire episode. So that's it. Thank you very much for everything. See you.